Hi YouTube! Today we are green screened up for no particular reason. E3. I will not be going to LA for E3 this year. Last year I actually uploaded a video about the differences between going versus staying home. I think both have their merits. I would love to go back to E3, but also it's pretty pricey and I just don't have the money to splurge on that right now. So I will be at home watching it live. I took the day off work. It's gonna be great. But like every year, gotta get my predictions out there. Gotta do it because when I'm right about everything, I want to be able to prove it. And if I'm wrong about everything, I want nobody to look at this video ever again. Last year, I felt pretty confident that Animal Crossing was going to be announced at E3. I had a champagne ready. I was going to pop it. I watched it live. I streamed it live. I streamed my reaction live. Had the champagne. No Animal Crossing. This year, I feel like I have a pretty firm grasp once again on what's going to happen at E3. Whether or not that grasp is as firm as it is in my mind, not sure. We'll find out. Won't we? So E3 predictions 2019. First off, housekeeping. E3 is Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's the big conference of the year for video games. There's a number of different conferences, places where people announce games, consoles, and stuff like that. Nintendo does Nintendo Directs throughout the year, but traditionally, in the past few years, they have had a special, kind of longer, more exciting Nintendo Direct, as well as a 3-day live stream playing a bunch of upcoming games. So E3 is a big thing for every video game company, or for most video game companies, but particularly today I'm going to be talking about Nintendo because I'm NFG and that's what I do. This year, Nintendo's E3 Direct will be on June 11th, Tuesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. on the West Coast or noon on the East Coast or any number of other time zones that you might be in. The Treehouse Live will then be streamed, usually directly from the E3 show floor on June 11th, 12th, and 13th, pretty much all day. And by all day, I really mean all of the hours that the expo hall is open, which offhand, I don't really remember what it is, but I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of noon to 5 p.m. If you can only watch one thing for the Nintendo announcements at E3, it should definitely be the Direct that's happening at 9 a.m. PT on June 11th. And then throughout that week and the weekend before, Nintendo's also doing some tournaments for games. There's like a Super Mario Maker 2 Invitational. All of this information, everything I've said and more is available at e3.nintendo.com. So definitely check out that website. That's also going to be a place where you can watch the live streams. They're really going to be streamed everywhere. There will be no shortage of links for you to use. If you Google Nintendo E3 Direct the morning of, you're going to find a billion links. You can watch it on that website, on YouTube, on Nintendo's channel, on Twitch, on Nintendo's channel, etc. Anyway, predictions. So I want to start by saying the two things that we know for sure, or at least unless Nintendo has lied to us, we know for sure. One, no new hardware will be announced at E3. Lots of rumors, speculations, leaks about Nintendo having 1 or 2 new Switch consoles coming later this year. Personally, I'm of the opinion that those rumors are based in fact, but Nintendo has said there will be no hardware announcement at E3. So those may be announced, they may still be coming in June or whatever people think, but it is not going to be announced at E3. Nintendo has said this more than once, so unless they were lying about it, don't expect to see that. The other thing is that Nintendo has said in a few places that they're going to be focusing specifically on games that are set to release in 2019. Does this mean that they won't hint towards something that's a little farther down the line? No, I don't think so. It wouldn't be unusual for Nintendo to do a bunch of stuff that's coming out this year and then at the end drop some random hint that they're working on something that's set for some mystery date in the future. But traditionally, and something that I'm thankful for, Nintendo does not release things super far in advance when they can help it. There are some exceptions to that, and usually it's because either Nintendo doesn't realize how far they or another company is from release, or because a game gets delayed, and those can't really be helped. But in general, Nintendo does seem to wait until a game is within a year of launch. So since we know the focus is going to be on 2019 games, we do have a pretty big selection of games that we know are coming out in 2019. So let's just go through that list. 1, Super Mario Maker 2. I don't think that they're going to talk about Super Mario Maker 2 pretty much at all in the Nintendo Direct. Super Mario Maker 2 did just get a dedicated Nintendo Direct, 15 minutes long, a week ago. There is no more to really elaborate on at this point. The one thing that wasn't talked about that may come up is Amiibo usage in Super Mario Maker 2. But overall, I definitely wouldn't expect Super Mario Maker 2 to come up at all in the Direct, but probably at least once or twice in Treehouse. Another game that I think some people will disagree with me on this, but I don't think we're going to hear too much about in the Direct is Fire Emblem Three Houses. And there's a couple of reasons why I don't think that it's going to get much spotlight, but mainly because we have pretty much all of the information about it at this point. Fire Emblem Three Houses was originally set for a spring 2019 launch, and it got delayed just a little bit. It's now coming out in July of this year. It already has a release date, it already has gameplay, it already has characters, it already has art, it already has most of the stuff that they'd be showing off at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to get a little bit of a shout out or maybe something Amiibo related in the Direct, but I think most of that, again, is going to be concentrated in the Treehouse streams. And then the only other game that I have a release date for, Astral Chain, I actually do think is going to get more of a plug at the Direct. We did hear about Astral Chain only this year, and it looks great. The game is being made by Platinum Games. We actually don't have much information on it, but it's coming out in August, at the end of August, so there's kind of a lot of room for Nintendo to talk about that some more. I do think that Astral Chain is going to get a little plug in the Direct and also going to get some time in the Treehouse streams. So every other game I'm going to talk about from here on out has been announced for 2019, but otherwise has no release date. So for some of these, we might be getting release dates. It really depends on how close they are to being launched. Some of these might be getting release months, or they might be getting late 2019 or fall 2019, winter 2019, etc. First one is Town, working title. I think it might end up with the title Town anyway, because that's what everyone knows it as at this point, but Town is a game that was created by Game Freak. It's an RPG of some kind, and a lot of people have been really excited about it. We haven't gotten much more news about it since then, but it did have a 2019 release date, so if that is indeed still coming out this year, which it seems to be, I think we're going to get a lot more information about that. Similarly, Luigi's Mansion 3. We did see gameplay of Luigi's Mansion 3 a little bit. We saw a little more information, but we still are missing quite a bit. I think we'll see Luigi's Mansion 3 gameplay, and I'm expecting a launch for that that's closer than a lot of us are thinking otherwise. In my mind, I'm actually thinking September at the latest for Luigi's Mansion, but who knows, maybe they'll push it back for a Halloween-y October release. Deus Ex Machina is another game that was announced last year at E3. It actually got an open beta demo, whatever it's called, earlier this year, where they were soliciting feedback so that they could improve the game, which is wonderful to see. We don't know where Deus Ex Machina is right now in terms of how far away it is from release, but I think we'll find that out at E3. Zelda Link's Awakening is another game that we have for 2019 that we haven't seen anything of since its announcement, but its announcement was also like a month ago, so that's not too surprising. I actually don't think we're going to see a ton of it at E3 in the Direct. I think it will be at the Treehouse. I just don't think that there's much more to announce for it. It's a game that already exists. We've seen the art and the gameplay style. There has to be something more to pull us. The only thing that's really missing at this point is release date. So they might say their release date, they might not. They might just play it during Treehouse Live and talk about it a little more. I don't think they're going to do much of a deep dive because there's not much of an announcement aspect there. I do think that we're overdue. This is not a new game, but we're overdue for the next announcement for Smash Ultimate. So I do think that we're going to see the next fighter. There are rumors about who it is. I'll leave it kind of, you guys can go look them up yourself if you want. But I think that we're probably going to get that announcement at some point during the weekend, whether that's at the tournament for Smash, at a different tournament, or wherever. And then finally, the two big ones, Pokemon Sword and Shield, 8th generation Pokemon, mainline game Pokemon. I would be shocked and appalled, I tell you, if we didn't get a good amount of news about Pokemon at E3. In the past, past Pokemon announcements have been kept kind of separate from Nintendo announcements. The Pokemon Company kind of did their own thing. That concept was kind of shattered last year at E3. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee were one of the main focal points of the Nintendo booth last year. It was basically Pokemon Let's Go and Smash Ultimate. And I think that Pokemon Sword and Shield are going to get somewhat similar treatment this year. We did see some pretty good stuff from Pokemon Sword and Shield already. It's Pokemon, so even though we saw some gameplay, we saw the starters, there's an entire generation to be announced over the next however many months. And then, of course, there's also the release date that we haven't heard of yet. Personally, I'm completely expecting a November release date. It would be completely on par with what Pokemon has done in recent years, and it's pretty open right now for Nintendo. But then the last game that we need information on, need Animal Crossing. Yee! Ever since the Switch was announced, I'm too lazy to go back through my old videos, but this would be a great spot to put a little compilation of all of the times that I said Animal Crossing on Switch would be perfect. It's made for Animal Crossing. It's great. I feel so strongly about this game, let me tell you. So Animal Crossing was not announced at E3 last year like I had said a billion times over that I thought it would be. It was, however, announced late last year to be coming out in 2019. Hallelujah. Thank you, baby Jesus, baby Miyamoto, baby Nintendo, thank you. And then we haven't seen basically anything since that one announcement. My original speculation was summer of 2019, but they would have had to have shown something by now, so I don't think it's summer 2019 anymore. Kind of sad, but it's okay. There have been some naysayers talking about how the game must be delayed because we haven't seen anything of it so far. I will not be putting that negative energy into the world. I will be completely and irrevocably trusting of Nintendo in this situation, and I do actually truly believe that Animal Crossing is still coming out this year. I have a lot of things to say about Animal Crossing, about what I expect in the new game, what I want in the new game, and what's going to be announced, but that alone could make up its own video, so I'm going to keep it a little bit short and say I think that Animal Crossing is going to be the central focus of E3 for Nintendo this year. Nintendo has been doing these great, elaborate, themed booths. I think it's going to be Animal Crossing. I think it's going to be an adorable Animal Crossing village, and I'm going to be so jealous of the people who are there, but for now, I'll be just happy to look at it from far away. So for Animal Crossing, aside from it being like basically the focal point of E3 for Nintendo, I think we're going to get a release date or a smaller release window. We're going to get a title. We're going to get information about multiplayer and information about when we're going to hear more. Ha ha ha. I am so excited for Animal Crossing. So that's all the stuff I feel pretty confident about us hearing about. There's a few things that I feel like if I don't mention, people are going to think that I forgot them, so I'll mention them. That's not to say that I'm not forgetting things. There's probably something really obvious that I haven't said. 1, Bayonetta 3. Nintendo kind of stealthily seemed to remove the release date of 2019 from Bayonetta 3 to TBA. It does seem like Bayonetta 3 is not coming out in 2019, which is fine. There's a ton of other games coming out this year. Also with Platinum Games working on Astral Chain. We haven't heard anything about Bayonetta 3 in a while, but I think that Nintendo's going to wait until closer to its launch. And then Metroid Prime 4, if you didn't know, it was delayed back in January. Nintendo actually kind of came out and said, hey, this is not working the way that we want it to, so we're just gonna not release it and give it to Retro Studios. They did give it to Retro Studios, and word is on the town that Retro is basically redoing everything. I'm sure there's some stuff that Retro was able to salvage, but generally speaking, we should not expect that it's anywhere close to launch, unfortunately. And I think part of the reason Nintendo put out that video in January apologizing and saying that it was delayed is because we're not going to be hearing about it for a while. And then finally, Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was announced in 2017. We haven't heard anything from late 2017 on that, and maybe it's just gonna pop up and be like, surprise, we've been working on it all along and it's almost done. But personally, I don't have much faith in that happening. I don't know why. I think maybe I'm just a little bit jaded to it at this point, but I'll just mention it for the sake of mentioning it. I don't think it's going to come up. And now for the fun stuff. So the best part of E3 is the stuff that we don't know is going to be announced. Those games that I just talked about all exist. We know that they're being made. Therefore, they're not that exciting, except Animal Crossing, but that's different because it's Animal Crossing. The magic of E3 comes from the games and the announcements that we aren't expecting. So I do have a little list of kind of predictions, but they're more along the lines of speculations and my hopes and desires for the Switch. First one is Amiibo things. I think Nintendo's not done with Amiibos at this point. Sorry, Amiibo. Whether it's Amiibo for Super Mario Maker, for Animal Crossing, for Smash, more for Smash, I don't know. I think that Nintendo's going to talk about Amiibo whenever they get the chance. It might be more in the treehouse. Next, Metroid Prime Collection, the trilogy collection for the Switch. There have been rumors circulating. I think they're mostly just kind of common sense rumors, not that people have heard things. But basically, it's possible that Nintendo has been working on a Metroid Prime collection for the Switch to get people up to speed so that they play the first 3 if they haven't before Metroid Prime 4 comes out. Metroid Prime 4, of course, was delayed, but that doesn't mean that a Metroid Prime trilogy isn't still coming out. And in fact, that would kind of give Nintendo a little bit more of a stretch between now and whenever Metroid Prime 4 actually gets announced. It gives people a lot of time to play the first 3. So I wouldn't be shocked if Nintendo were to come out with the Metroid Prime trilogy collection on the Switch at this point. Yokai Watch 4 is out in Japan. E3 wouldn't really be the right place to announce a localization for that, so I don't know that that's going to happen. In fact, Yokai Watch has not been doing well in America. The production for Yokai Watch 3 and Yokai Watch Blasters both were like a month in stores and gone. And they're really expensive on eBay now, so that's annoying for those of us who failed to buy it. So, I don't know, I guess I'm just mentioning Yokai Watch 4 because it would be nice if a localization was announced, but meh. F-Zero for Switch, mention it every year, still hasn't happened. Maybe this will be the time that F-Zero will come to fruition. We also know that there's been some kind of a Starfox Racers game rumored for a long time. I don't really want that, and so I guess that's why I feel like it's not going to happen, but I think it's mostly just I don't really want it to happen. Sorry. But, you know, Starfox Racers, F-Zero, they could all be kind of intertwined. Bravely Default 3 for Switch, or Bravely Default Collection for Switch, which would be kind of 1 or 2 from the 3DS ported to the Switch. Or both. I'll take both of those. That would be just fine. Square Enix did this sneaky thing where they released a picture of Adia holding some Switch controllers for Christmas, and then they kind of changed around the Bravely Default Twitter account to make it look like they were about to announce Bravely Third, and they never did. So basically at this point, they've already broken my heart twice. But that doesn't mean that they'll keep breaking it. Maybe this will be the year that we hear about Bravely Default. It might have been that it wasn't ready to announce, and now it is. So let's go, Square Enix. Give me what I want. Bravely Default on the Switch. Next, wishful speculation. Any updates to Nintendo's online interface? I'm still not ever really impressed by what Nintendo offers with Nintendo Online. I really don't mind paying $20 a year. I don't mind paying a little more than that even, but I want more. My personal wish list would be more customizable avatars, party systems, voice chat, all of the basic stuff. An achievement system would be great, but I've kind of given up all hope on that for Nintendo. I don't care how many people want to tell me that it's not an entertainment console. I would love Netflix on my Switch because I use it in bed and I would love to watch Netflix in my bed. Come on. Indie games, I'm sure, are going to be talked about at E3. I don't know. They might do like a little compilation that they do sometimes of indie games that are coming out on the Switch during the Direct. I don't know that there's going to be any like real standouts of what's coming out, but you never know. Sometimes there are some pretty exciting stuff. I do think some indie games are going to rear their heads, their beautiful heads, during the live Treehouse stream, so that's great too. I also anticipate that there's going to be any number of ports for the Switch announced during the Direct. Personally, I'd love Wind Waker HD to be on the Switch. I've bought that game like 20 times. Let's make it 21. I'm down. Let's go. Don't even have to just look at the Nintendo library. There's a bunch of games that in theory could be ported to the Switch without too much difficulty. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 HD could be put on the Switch if Square Enix really felt like it. Seems like they don't. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but my point being the possibilities for ports are endless, or seemingly nearly endless. And then last but not least, first of all, I'll say Banjo Kazooie because I always want Banjo Kazooie on my Nintendo systems. It's never going to happen, but I will just forever beg, please Nintendo, please Rare, please Microsoft, let me have Banjo Kazooie. Let me just have, please. But that aside, I'll end my speculations on another kind of, not necessarily far-fetched, but not anticipated thing. We'll put it that way. I would love to see Paper Mario or another Mario RPG make its little way onto the Switch. Frankly, I'd be happy to take a port of the Thousand Year Door, but I am a big Paper Mario fan, and Sticker Star I actually thought was pretty good, but I would really like something on the Switch. And if the series isn't dead, I don't think it is, then it's possible that that's something that's coming up. So just as a reminder, these are all kind of my ideas, my speculations. Please don't take anything I say as fact. I don't know anything about Nintendo and E3. That's not public information, so there's no worries about me knowing things and like hinting at them. I really don't know anything, so don't worry about that. Nintendo's pretty good about being tight-lipped about their announcements. That's why they usually don't get leaked too early. I really hope nothing gets leaked or spoiled. I hate that. It breaks my heart when I see something that companies have kept secret for 3 or 4 years in production and some random person like gets a screenshot and it's all out there. And that really sucks, so try to not be that person. But also, if you see this stuff, take everything with a grain of salt because there's a lot of people who make pretty good fake E3 leaks right before E3. Will Nintendo have a good E3 this year? All right, let's see. That doesn't answer a yes or no question, but I guess we will see. That's all for now, so make sure you leave your E3 predictions down below or somewhere publicly at least so that you can refer back to them after the fact. Or let me know if you think I am spot on or really stupid. It's gotta be one or the other. I don't know yet if I'm going to be live reacting to Nintendo's E3 Direct, but I will for sure be live on Twitter and elsewhere, so make sure you follow me on Twitter if you have a Twitter account, and also make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, this thing that you're watching this on right now, in theory, and make sure you click the stupid little bell button that YouTube uses. You know what I'm talking about, probably. Thanks for watching, and I hope everyone has a wonderful E3. Love you. Mwah. Diku, diku, diku.